Hey guys, Rob Davis, One Blue Robot, catching up with Gary Chasteen of Crestmont Custom Homes. And we're at a little bit different project today. So this is a big remodel in South Lake, Texas, and it's currently underway. And this is a new process to me, and it gives a chance. I've been talking with the homeowners, and we're going to be doing a segment with the homeowners down the road when this is a little closer to completion. So Gary, I guess I would say start with, on a remodel, how do you approach, a current homeowner versus someone that is building the home? Is it a different approach, or is it the same, or is it subtly or significantly? So what's the difference between the two?
Yeah, well, remodels are a little bit more difficult in trying to figure out exactly what it is you're going to remodel, right? Where that remodel starts and where it stops. From a pricing perspective, it's really good to have a set of plans. If they go to an architect like they did on this job, they had that architect draw this, and it clearly defines the lines where things are and where things aren't. So then it goes into, there's demo work that goes into remodels that you wouldn't necessarily have on new construction. So costs associated with taking things down to a certain point in order to combine them with the additions that you're going to do on the job site.
So it makes me think when you said that, because you don't think about the demolition that has to take place, and there's cost built in, and the things, and even if they go to an architect and get plans, I know we were talking off camera, the architect can't always see exactly what they anticipate being there, right? And they find out that it's something different. So it made me think about, we've talked in videos in the past, one of the things that people really appreciate about you specifically, and your approach with Crestmont Custom Homes, is that you're just completely transparent and above board about pricing, right? This is what it's going to be, what we expect. Of course, there are always subtle changes, but there are no big surprises. How do you manage that in a remodel when you find that, now I know you said the architectural plans are important, but how do you manage that when there are so many unknowns or could be unknowns, right? How do you manage that communication and keeping that above board?
Well, it's difficult. You have to have a client that understands that what they're going to is not something that you just do by the price per square foot. It's not, hey, how much can you do this for, $100 a foot? It's really, let's tackle this thing and try to figure out exactly what it's going to cost. And in areas that we don't know, then we're gonna pad those numbers a little bit. But the beauty of that is that we're open book. It just, in the end, it costs what it costs. So if we pad those numbers and say, well, I think we're going to spend about $5,000 on HVAC, and it comes in at $3,500, that doesn't go in my pocket. That's just a credit that we use back towards the customers. We have to be realistic on our numbers. So I don't want to paint this picture that we're some magician going to come in here and do it for an amazing price. It costs what it costs to do it, and so remodels are a little bit more difficult in that because of the demolition and because of, well, this touches that, now what do we do with that? Well, this door doesn't look nice next to that door because that door is brand new, this door doesn't exactly match. Okay, well, let's go ahead and replace that door too. Well, the tile now touches that tile in that room, and how do we make that transition? And so there's things that you have to get into in that avenue. Most of those things we can probably see up front. Some of them we're not going to see what's behind the walls and plumbing and electrical and things like that. So sometimes the codes have an effect that we get out here and start going, and the city says, well, now that you've opened this up, you got to change this and this. And so those things are some things that are unseen.
So you raised another really good point, and I think that this is important because it's not been my experience in the past in building homes, and I'm not a home builder. That sounded wrong, but when we built a home, and that is that like you said, if you budgeted $5,000 for HVAC, and I've agreed to that, right? This is what we're going to pay, but it comes back at $3,500. You don't just pocket $1,500. You let the homeowner know, hey, we've got a $1,500 slush now that we can apply somewhere else and do something with. That's huge.
We're going to be over somewhere else.
Right.
So if I'm going to be the bad guy somewhere else, at least I get to be the good guy somewhere too, right?
Right.
So if you stay with $1,500 over here, and then they, oh, well, you completely missed this by $1,500. Well, good, because I saved you $1,500 over there. So it equals out. So that makes, not only is communication key, but also finances can tend to spoil a relationship pretty quickly.
Right.
Especially if they're getting all the losses. And that's the way some in the industry do, is they pass off those as change orders, as losses, and then nobody ever sees a win, right? And so if you're open book, it's, hey, I think we can get the job done for X, and we're gonna have some play in the middle, or we're gonna save over here, we're gonna overspend over here, and hopefully at the end we're still at X.
So that brings up my next question, because in this area in Southlake, Texas, where we're at, where you're doing this remodel, I was talking with the homeowners, and the wife was saying, Laura, that there are tons of people. The real trend in this area of Southlake now is to do these, either completely wipe the house out and start over, but a lot of renovations and a lot of remodels. And so, how often do you find that you do the best job, and this is really your experience and expertise, you do the best job that you can in estimating what the job cost is going to be? How close are you to that on a remodel? Because I'm assuming this is the hardest thing to stay on budget and project, because of what you talked about. All the stuff, the unknown, the unseens, right? But what do you, if a homeowner says, I'm going to renovate, you're going to give me, a price, how close do you find that you typically stay?
The remodels that we've done, the big ones like this, we're usually, pretty close, I would say within $10,000 of that. And like I said, we're going to have some areas where we're over, some areas where we're under. So I don't know whatever that percentage is, but I'd say we're usually pretty close, because it's open book.
And and the homeowner knows from the beginning, right, that it's
that's right.
Understand, this is not going to be, if we say it's $100,000, it's never going to be $100,000. It's going to be plus or minus.
That's right. Might be 90, might be 110, right? So you just have to be prepared for that. The difference is our fee doesn't change. Our fee is set. So
it's pure cost of whatever comes up.
Yeah, it's pure cost, and if the costs go up, we're not charging you more of a management fee, I guess, if that's what you want to call it.
Okay.
But if the cost goes down, our management fee is not going down either. So our goal there is we can work to save you money, because it's not going to affect our income. But also, if things go over, it's not me trying to sell you something to get the cost to go up so I can just make more money. It's what you want and how you want. And a lot of people don't understand, when you're looking at a set of plans, it's two-dimensional. And when you get out here and you start walking through it and you see it and you feel it, it's three-dimensional, it's four-dimensional, and you're making decisions now. We made decisions 2 months ago based on two-dimensional. You're making decisions now based on three-dimensional, and those decisions may be a little bit different. So it's not necessarily me trying to run the price up to run my fee up. So that's why I think it's just fair to set the fee based on the original estimate that we made, and let's try to hit that number. If you'll do your part on trying to be cost effective on your selections of tile and lighting and those type of things, we're usually pretty good on our numbers of what I call bricks and sticks, sheetrock and that kind of thing. That's all pretty much done by the square foot. So we're not usually off too much on that, and we can get bids prior to, just depending on how much time the customer has to bid the project. Some people, hey, here's my plans and we need to get started next week. Well, I'm running some rough numbers, but I don't have time to send this thing out for bid, right? So if somebody says, hey, we got 30 days, 60 days, then I'll bid it out as many people as I can to get some pretty good numbers, and we can hold those guys to those bids. And then your numbers are going to be a little bit more accurate. So the more time we have, the more accurate we can be.
So my last two questions and last 2 points, which you brought up something that's incredible, I think, is I don't know that it's the norm, and that is that you have a set price. This is what Crestmont Custom Homes is going to charge to do this work. The cost fluctuation is not, like you said, you trying to pad in more profitability by other things happening. You're saying this is what it is, and the other costs are going to be simply, you've got more 2x4s, you've got more brick, you've got more awning work, whatever. And so that's pretty comforting, I think.
It usually comes down to granite or cabinets or tile or lights or the finish out stuff is where it usually comes down to, or changes. We put up tile in a shower, I don't like it, take it down. Well, then we redo that. It's cost associated with that, labor, materials. Our fee doesn't change.
But yeah, so it's not it doesn't change your base fee and what happens there, which is awesome. So the last question I have, especially on something like a remodel, because this is a little bit different in that almost always the homeowners are living in the home, right, while you're working on it. So this is a different kind of thing. So I'm assuming, as good as you are, because all the reviews of you and Crestmont are always that the communication is just outstanding. It seems like, and tell me kind of how you deal with it, but it seems like communication in a remodel with homeowners living in the home is even more critical.
It is. They walk these jobs at 6, 7, 8 o'clock at night. We get emails at 9, 10, 11 o'clock at night. They're here all the time. Whereas you're building new construction, they may drive by and see a bunch of sticks out there and go, I'm not walking in there. It's muddy to get there. I'm not going in there, whatever. Well, you think you schedule meetings to go over that stuff. They're not there 8, 10, 12 hours a day. Remodels, they are. They live there. And so they're constantly walking through it. They're excited about it. Oh, I need to change this, or oh, this plugs in the wrong spot. We need to move that. And so we get emails with, 4 or 5 points on there. Hey, just FYI tomorrow, or whatever. And so we have to deal with that. But it's communication is just, I think, human nature. People want to be heard, and they want to be understood, and they want to be responded to. And that's what we try to do.
So that's probably the biggest key, and we can kind of probably close with that. I think that that's something that in the time I've known you, that you do very well, is most of the time it is in communication, not even so much that I want these changes made, it's that, hey, will you engage with me?
Right.
And I would bet that there are builders out there that probably it's not a strength of theirs, right? I mean, you're getting bombarded. It's more like, oh my goodness, this homeowner's driving me crazy or whatever. Not that sometimes we all don't feel that way with clients. But I think you have the maturity and experience to realize that oftentimes it's just that. It's just that, hey, I've been out here at 10 o'clock at night, and could you answer this? Could you address it? And even if they demand, or maybe demand's the wrong word, even if they ask for a change, sometimes it just takes you explaining why that wouldn't be a good change, or why it would be a good change.
Or
it's
just acknowledging, okay, no problem, we'll take care of it in the morning.
Right.
People want to make sure that they know we're not working on just one job. They know we're working on usually 5 to 7 jobs at a time, and they want to make sure that they're not being forgotten.
Right.
And so when they send you a little note or a little email or a little text, it's just a little simple response. Hey, got it, no problem. Communication is in order. I'll pass it on to who we need to, and we'll handle it and make sure it's taken care of. And that's just human nature. I think people just want to make sure that they haven't been lost in the other jobs that you have, or you're always at that job and never at my job, and that kind
because
of
for them, this is the world. This is all that exists in the world.
Exactly right.
This is the only job taking place,
the only
right
one
here.
they care about is that one. Yeah, so.
All right, well, awesome. All right, so guys, again, Rob Davis, One Blue Robot with Gary Chasteen, Crestmont Custom Homes. I'm going to tell you, if you're building a new home or looking at doing a remodel, and it's not because Gary's a client of ours. I mean, he pays me to do a certain amount of work, but that fee is set, right? So I don't get anything else for endorsing him beyond that. That being said, my experience with him talking with homeowners and people that he works with is what he's explaining, and the questions that I'm asking is exactly true. It is a different kind of experience, and people are beginning to realize that they can fall in love with the process of remodeling, the process of building a home, when they have someone like you, someone like Gary. Don't take my word for it. You'll see more stuff that we have going on with homeowners, and we'll share their perspectives. You can see other videos, and you'll get a feel for why Crestmont Custom Homes is the right choice, and that Gary's the one that leads that.